What's up gamers, Cryptico here, and welcome back to Lowering the Mark, a show where I analyze the current and former world records of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe time trial runs to see how these records get faster over time. We'll look at elements such as the loadout, racing lines, and mushroom usage to better understand what's bringing these times down. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the notification bell to be the first to know when my videos go live. Here we are at the Season 2 finale. I can't tell you how exciting it's been to see how well received these videos have become and just how improved they've gotten since Season 1. I've got even more cool things planned for Season 3 that I'm sure you'll love just as much, if not more. But for now, let's cap off a great season with one of the top 2 Sub-Zero tracks in the game, Mute City at 200cc. On May 1st, 2017, the world record for this course was set at 1 minute 23.427 seconds by the Japanese player Mito. Nearly 3 years later, on April 30th, 2020, the world record was set at 1 minute 20.998 seconds by the Norwegian player Pi. That's a 2.4 second improvement between records and a 3% faster time. Let's meet our racers. Our former world record holder Mito has broken 5 world records on this run only and has spent 5 days holding at least one world record. Our current world record holder Pi has only broken 10 world records across 4 unique courses, but also holds 3 current world records while spending 147 days holding at least one world record. Probably one of the highest current records to broken records ratio in the game. Let's see how the record got to this point. At pre-release, the record was just under 127, but would see few second breaks after the game's release. About a month later, the record was quite short-lived in the 122 range as tenths were being dropped like it was nothing. The first major record would come from American player Tyler with the first 121 that stood tall for over 120 days. At the end of 2017, a French player by the name of Thunderfire would headline notable drops into the mid-121s along with a few other British and Japanese players. 2018 was a time when the record would fall by mere hundredths at a time, and any cut was a huge deal. 6 faster times went up by Thunderfire and Unreal before 2019 would see 7 faster times go up with just over a tenth separating them. It looked like a 120 was possible at the hands of Sarusuke, but it was Pi who came in and got the historic sub first by the skin of his teeth, and that's where the record stands today. In total, the world record has been broken 47 times by 13 unique players. Now our loadouts look different, but their stats are relatively the same. Mito goes with the combo of Wario driving the Blue Falcon with the slim wheels and the plane glider, while Pi goes with the combo of the Heavy Me character driving the Mach 8 with the wood wheels and the paper glider. Just looking at the overall performance of each loadout, we see higher speed and lower handling. This is preferred in 200cc because the runs are less reliant on mini turbos. Mito comes away with the advantage in top speed and handling stat, but Pi has the slight edge in acceleration, mini turbo, and even the grip stat. Honestly, any one of these loadouts could put up a world record time. Let's see how they did it. I hope you've enjoyed my clever names for each section because you will never see it again. Oh my god, it is so difficult to come up with names. I just can't do it anymore. Either way, this course is kind of just one big oval with a corkscrew, and I'm just stalling at this point, so let's get to the race. Both players hit a rocket start and hop into a tight drift around the first turn and hit some zippers before they come flying down this straight path, hitting even more zippers along the way. Pi did take a tighter turn around the first bend and leads by over 1/10 of a second because of it. Into the twisty section, both players charge up a mini turbo off the ramp before hitting 2 more mini turbos and 3 spin boosts on their way to getting their first 8 coins on those side panel things. Pi is carrying a bit more speed than Mito, and it's why he now leads him by over 3/10 of a second going into the ship section. Okay, now we have something different. Mito goes wide to cut part of this U-turn out with a mushroom before hitting a few zippers and mini turbos before performing a no-item shortcut to hit the first of 3 jump boosts as he comes flying down to the finish line. Pi does the same thing but cuts out even more of that U-turn by drifting wider and approaching it from a better angle. He too will hit that no-item shortcut, but since he's going so fast, he only grabs 2 of the jump boosts before crossing the finish line to close out lap 1 where he now leads Mito by 8/10 of a second. Now both runs are eerily similar through the first 2 sections on this lap. They hit all the same zippers, grab the same mini turbos, the only difference is near the end of the twisty section. Mito goes right while Pi goes left to hit a zipper and pick up the last 2 coins. At this point, Pi is leading by 1.2 seconds going into the ship section. Now let's slow it down and show you just how much better Pi takes this cut here. I mean, come on, you can clearly see that he not only takes this cut tighter, but faster too. They both hop 3 times, but Pi somehow hops faster and comes out of this turn carrying much more speed. They both come flying down after hitting that Nisk and both hit 2 jump boosts before crossing the finish line where Pi leads by 1.6 seconds over Mito's former world record. So you can probably guess by now that these racers do the same thing they did on lap 2 for the final lap. No major changes, just hoping they can pull it off one more time. I did however notice that Pi doesn't hit a jump boost on this ramp here while Mito does. Probably because for Pi, it's less time spent in the air, which is just that small time save he needs to dip under 121. We see that by a margin of 2/1000ths of a second, he's able to pull it off after 3 laps of incredible precision and frame perfect timing that result in a time that's nearly 2.5 seconds faster than Mito's time. Let's hear some words from the man who came out of nowhere to break this record and set a historic mark in the process. I forgot to throw this in here, but here's the full race breakdown for both players. Interestingly, Mito dropped more mini turbos and jump boosts, but Pi got the faster time because of the better shroom cut, tighter lines, and being able to carry speed more effectively. Now let's hear some words from him. What was going through your mind when you broke this world record?
I felt like the run kinda died after I got a wide first turn in lap 3, but I had really good driving in the lap apart from that. When I saw I was still on pace, my heart started beating faster than it has ever beat. After I crossed the finish line and looked at the time, I was just extremely happy because I knew I was the first one to go 120 and that I didn't have to play the track anymore. It was a really painful grind with so many fails.
Could you put a number on how many runs it took to achieve this record and break down about how many of those runs made it past laps 1 and 2 and runs that finished?
I think it took me like 1,400 restarts in total, and I got about 5 finished runs that were well driven as well as about 7 really good runs that failed on lap 3.
You have the world record, all the best known splits, and know this track better than pretty much everyone else. What do you believe the fastest possible time is right now?
I think it's realistic that it will be set at a very high 120.8 at some point, as the best known splits give a 120.82, and that requires a near perfect shortcut on all 3 laps as well as really good lines in the twisty section. The lap with the most room for improvement is actually lap 1 because it has a slower shortcut than the other 2 laps.
Great to hear from you, Pi. Thanks for not copy striking me or getting mad at me for stealing all your ghost videos. Let's take a look at the best known splits. All 3 are owned by Pi and all 3 are from different runs. Pretty wild that none of the best known splits are from the world record. His best lap 3 split was part of a 121.1 and the first 2 lap splits are unknown and possibly runs that failed given it took him 1,400 restarts. You heard it from him that it will take a pretty perfect run to put together a time faster than his. And while there are improvements to be made, it's going to be really difficult to string 3 near perfect laps together. Let's see who's in the hunt to join the 120 club. Pi obviously has the only 120 in the world, but less than half of a tenth of a second behind him is Zarusuke with his 121.05. Early veteran Thunderfire rounds out the top 3 with the French record at 121.1. 4th through 8th place consists of a smattering of high-level Japanese players such as Tain, Ronnie, and Achamo, all separated by just over 1/10 of a second. British record holder Unreal and French superstar Army round out the top 10 just 4/10 back from the top time. It's a pretty crammed leaderboard, which means any player could come away with the time fast enough to beat Pi's record. With enough grinding, one of these players could string together a pretty quick run. I'd put my money on Zarusuke or Thunderfire, but it's really anyone's game. And that wraps up the final episode of Season 2. Thank you for all the views, comments, likes, and just your overall support for this series. It really means a lot to me. I went into Season 2 with new ideas, and I'm glad that you liked them. I'll be back for Season 3 before you know it with even more improvements that I'm sure you'll like. As always, if you enjoyed this analysis, leave a like and share the video with your friends and comment which course you want me to analyze next. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.